All right. We are running a Mage Knight battle report. It's Elemental League versus Black Powder Rebels. It's good to play some Mage Knight battle reports. It's a really great game. We're running 500 points. So I like the 400 to 600 points in Mage Knight. I think it's a really good spot to be in. I'm doing a Mage Knight campaign, and so we're going to try to do kind of a test custom scenario. So the way we're doing it is you're going to see on the board, we're going to have 3 objectives, models. So you have to capture, and the way we're doing it is that if you get 2 out of the 3 objectives, you win. So at any turn that you can grab 2 of these 3 objectives, you win. So the models must spend a full turn controlling the objective, and we also don't want kind of a game to get snuck in, like a victory to get won very easily. So we are once someone holds 2 out of the 3 objectives, we're going to give the player, the opponent, 1 extra turn to contest that. So we don't want like some sort of quick cheese win here. So we're also trying some fun lists. So we're not trying to be super competitive. Both of us wanted to play some models. He really wanted to play Black Powder and his Mortis. I really wanted to play Elemental League. And I wanted to break up my Troll Chieftain. So we're playing, we're not trying to be super competitive here. And, I did miss some pictures. So I just got caught up in the game. I tried to catch everything, but yeah, I did miss a turn where it was just really tense. And I had to think a lot. So that's just I'll go through it and cover what I did miss. But yeah, I did miss a few picks here and there. All right, so let's go over the list. So my Elemental League. So I'm breaking out the Troll Chieftain, and man, I haven't played this guy in a while. He's great. Troll Chieftain's great. Like he's just kind of been forgot about. That I'm glad I'm bringing him out again. I'm bringing Rowan and I'm bringing Laurel. With Laurel, I'm running a bit of a Centaur hit squad. So I've got 2 Centaur lieutenants that are red. I've got a Centaur medic. So they're going to be running with Laurel on a flank. I've got 2 Troll brawlers that are going to be running with my Troll Chieftain. I've got a Living Elemental. Living Elemental is a really good model. It's just kind of, it can go with a group, but it can also just kind of be on its own. 3 Woodland Scouts, they're going to primarily use as chaff. 2 Crystal Bladesmen, they're blue, 1 red. So just some 3 pretty heavy hitters, but are kind of glass cannon weapon masters. A Woodland Scout, and I've got 2 Rangers. So those are all shooting attacks that have stealth. So they'll be kind of another shooter in my unit. He's running a lot more shooting. So he's got his Mortis Draconum. He's got Gale Bronze Boss. So that's that 17 defend that she's running. 2 Steam Golems, a Golem Mechanic. He's got a red and a blue Dwarf Pikeman. He's got Amazon Blade. He has 2 of them. So he's running 2 Amazon Blade Mistresses. And he's got a Castellan Fuser. He's got another Gunslinger. He's got 2 Huntsmen. And he's got a Boomer. All right. So just to set up, so to talk about the scenario, and we actually mark these with scenario markers, but the first objective to capture is kind of this shrine in the middle of the city. The second one is going to be these woods that's in the center. So we've broken the board up in 3 parts. We've got a town, we've got a wooded area, and then we've got a mountainous area here. So this is the woods, and then we have another mountain area here. And the way they control the object, you have to get on top of this, the very top of the mountain. So so that's just the mountainous area. And you'll see later on we actually put the objectives. So through the setup, you can see here, I'm just running my Bladesmen and my Centaurs a lot more fast. So a lot of these units are pretty fast and can hit pretty hard. So I'm definitely planning on bringing a lot of these kind of, I would say, more glass hammers and just coming up, hitting this point pretty hard. What he's doing is he's bringing kind of a defensive, he really set up heavily on the right flank. So he's bringing Gale with some Amazons and a Gunslinger. He really is trying to do what I'm going to do on his left flank on my right, which is just to delay and to try and hit heavy on that flank. So he's bringing him a defensive. He's got some Huntsmen in the center. So here his Huntsmen are in a good place that they can kind of go wherever they need to. His Mortis is running up the center. And here's his right flank that is a lot more heavy. He's got both of those Steam Golems. He's got one steam golem and a good gun line here just to contest the middle, and he's also got his steam golem with his 2 pikemen. They're going to go and contest the mountain objective here. So kind of to counter that and see he's got a pretty heavy middle, I go ahead and put my chieftain, Rowan, and the 2 brawlers in the center just to kind of contest the center. I've got my ranger and sniper here just to be in the center, take some pot shots, maybe move into the forest as well. They have stealth. Seeing him set pretty heavily on this flank, I've put my artillerist that's going to set up the firing line right here. I've got my scouts, and I've got my living elemental. So just trying to maybe contest and hold off this right flank of mine. Yeah, and so here is just I'm pointing out that I'm bringing a lot of fast units here. The bladesmen are fast, and the centaurs are fast that can hit really hard. I'm definitely planning on cracking that left flank quickly and then sweeping in afterwards. Yeah, that's just the trolls. Again, my rangers, and then the scouts, living elemental, and the artillerist. All right, so that's just his flank. His 2 huntsmen with his mortis. He's got a pretty strong line here, firing line with the steam golem. He's got his mechanic out to back up that golem. And he's just got the dwarf pikeman and the golem here. This is going to be really good for him just to grab that right objective. All right, so game start. So I get first turn. I just move up the scouts. I move up the rangers. And I move up the trolls. So they're all doing the movement formation. So that's 3. And then I go ahead and just make sure that I need to get this objective contested to force him to move into me so that I can then hit him. So we move up as well the left flank, pretty aggressive. On his turn, he definitely moves up his defensive areas here. He moves these huntsmen really towards the left flank. I think he's seeing that he's got a lot more models. I've got a lot more models, so he starts bringing those huntsmen over to the left, to my left flank. Goes ahead and just runs up his mortis, and he brings up his steam and pike. Kind of capture this objective. Maybe he can come in. So on my second turn, I just have 2 actions. I move up the artillerist, and I move this living elemental to kind of start contesting this objective. Yeah, the living elemental is just a very solid unit. It can fight in a group, but it's also just one of these units that with that early regen slot, it can just really stay in fights a long time and really be very self-sufficient. So it's got a good base defense, good attack, and a good early regen slot. All right, so that's just the battlefield on my turn. All right, on his next turn, he's just moving up his fusers. He doesn't have them in movement formation, so he wants to start committing a little more to the right. He saw that I brought the troll artillerist and the living element over there. So yeah, pretty easy turn for him. So on my next turn, so my trolls just continue to move up. I move up my rangers, and then just going forward here, I push pretty aggressive with the bladesman. I just go ahead and immediately capture to contest the objective, and I move within charge range of my centaur lieutenant. So they basically double time, and they get within charge range of those 5 inches to his Amazons and that gunslinger that are backed up by Gale. On his turn, he just continues to move up the steam golem and the boomer. And then he also moves in his Draconum, his Mortis. He goes ahead and contests the middle objective here. So he is trying to do a bit of an early play where he's going to try to contest these objectives pretty quick. But I have my trolls coming up as well, so shouldn't be a problem. So he in response to that, he pushes his gunslinger to shoot at my lieutenant, but I've got battle armor, so it does good. And then he also shoots my huntsman. He shoots one of the, this is the one, the bladesman that he shoots. You can see he's very low, so heavily wounds that bladesman. And you'll note throughout the game, sometimes I'm calling out things that he does. He sometimes puts his activation markers after the fact. So sometimes you're going to see me saying a model did something that doesn't have an activation marker, but he just puts it on after the fact. So just keep that in mind. That's he kind of puts his activation tokens a little afterwards. All right, so here I just go ahead and move up the scouts just to kind of see if I can contest, go one way or another here. So they're in kind of a, just move them up. And then I also go ahead and just move the living elemental kind of out of line of sight. His steam golem can't shoot me. And then I just basically move to the base of the mountain to possibly contest the objective if I need to. Yeah, I go ahead, and so I had one of those bladesmen that were heavily injured. I actually push him to a demoralized slot to come here, and then I have a charge on that medic, centaur medic, so I go ahead and just move him up, and I heal. I do heal him, but I only heal him for one, so that's a little annoying. And then yeah, I move my centaur up, and I shoot the. So before that happened, I also move the centaur up, and I shoot the huntsman, and I miss. The artillerist also shoots one of the fusers coming up, and then the sniper also shoots the same fuser and basically demoralizes one of those fusers coming up. The other thing is I move my my chieftain and my trolls so that they touch the so my troll chieftain is touching the objective. So we had some uneven terrain, but basically we should have used just flat terrain. But the idea is that Rowan is in base contact with all three of the trolls, and one of those trolls are a little more forward, so that I made it so that if someone's going to base the chieftain, they're also going to be basing that brawler. So, like I said, since we have some uneven terrain, we do have to be a little more lenient with just some of the moves, just because it's very difficult to be exact when you have uneven terrain. Here he pushes his Amazon to attack my Centaur Lieutenant. He needs a 6, so he misses. I'm sorry, he didn't push her. This was from the gunslinger, but he does attack my Centaur Lieutenant. I had wounded this Blade Mistress, so she needed a 10, so she misses that Centaur Lieutenant. And then he also moves his other Amazon Blade Mistress into my Centaur that it hit the gunslinger, and then Gale also moves over to give her defend to those two. He also so that's going on there. He sees that I'm bringing my sniper and my rangers to kind of start shooting on his right flank, so he actually brings his mortis over here to start moving into those elves and attacking them. He shoots his huntsman again. So his huntsman, they shoot these two they shoot the red bladesmen. One hits, one misses, but still that's 2 damage. Now these bladesmen don't have a lot of clicks of damage, so even just 2 damage kind of takes them into makes them a lot weaker. So I think they're already down to just 1 damage. So those bladesmen are those huntsmen are already doing work, and you can see over here this is where he attacked my Centaur Lieutenant with that Blade Mistress. You don't see here, but the first thing I do before the bladesmen move up is my Centaur medic heals that injured blue bladesman again and rolls a 5. So that blue one is now fully healed, and then those bladesmen, as you're going to see in the next review, they move up to flank that Blade Mistress and Gale. And then I move up my Centaur Archer and I shoot the Huntsman and I miss again. So that Centaur Archer is kind of like 0 for 2 now. And here, so the other part of it is that after I healed up this blue, I then move them up, and 2 of them base. One of them bases then the Blade Mistress, and Gale, the other one bases Gale. So you can see I'm already starting to do where I'm just enveloping, and I'm going to hopefully clear out this flank pretty fast. The other thing I do is I go ahead and push my Centaur to. He had moved this Blade Mistress in last turn, so I go ahead and actually just push that Centaur, and I hit him. So it's still a 17 defend with Gale. So I do hit that other Blade Mistress, and I take her down. She's still a Weapon Master, but now she's a 6 attack. So it's much more difficult for her to hit that 15 defense. So it's really good that my plan is working here. I'm getting some pretty good rolls, in that I am starting to kind of crush this left flank pretty fast, which is really good for me, because that should be pressuring him otherwise here. The other thing I do is I move the scouts up and I block. So one of these scouts is touching the objective as just a safety measure. And then I also am blocking that Mortis Draconum from getting to these Rangers and Sniper. So his turn. So he moves up his pikeman to grab that objective. He moves up his steam golem here and then moves up his other pikeman. Yep. And then he shoots my chieftain. So this is 16 defend over there, and it's a 17 defense. But that steam golem, it's got an 11 attack, so he still hits my chieftain. But basically, my chieftain is now at a berserk slot, and the boomer misses, only having a 9 attack. So my chieftain got hurt, but now he's at a 12 attack, 5 damage. So that's one of the really good things with that chieftain is that if he gets hit, he's at those berserk slots early that he can hit back really hard, and he's got a 6 sense throw attack that he's in range. He also pushes the Amazons to try and get some damage. I think he sees that this flank is crumbling pretty fast, so he's hoping to just get some lucky rolls. Remember, those blades, if they do hit and they roll a 5 or a 6, that's really going to just slow down this push. So he needs a 10 with the 1 blade mistress, and he needs a 9 to hit, because this is a 15 defense because I pushed, but he misses both. So it's actually a really big deal for me that I'm able to not get injured, these 2 centaur lieutenants. And this blade mistress has basically, both of them have now lost their weapon master slot, so they're very weak. He doesn't have any heal in this slot. Him missing those 2 attacks is really meaning that this flank is going to crumble, and I think it's going to crumble a lot faster than he was hoping. So good luck on my end here, just getting those consistent attacks with those 17 defend, and then him. He did take a chance. He needed 9s and 10s, but it was worth the chance. I mean, he really needed to slow down those centaur lieutenants. Now that's just another picture. Yeah, so I move the archers up towards the center here. I see that he's got a nice firing line, so I actually bring my sniper and my rangers in range to take some shots into them. The chief, he's at a berserk spot, and he throws it and hits that steam golem for a nice 5 damage, so 4 damage with tough. So I definitely do some good chunk of damage into that steam golem. And the plan is that he was going to use his berserk slot and hit this golem, and then Rowan's going to heal him. Well, Rowan failed to heal him. I needed a 6, I rolled a 5, so Rowan doesn't heal my chieftain. So that's pretty bad, actually. So the other thing is the artillerist shoots the. So I had basically demoralized this fuser, and so now the artillerist shoots this fuser. He's pretty weak. So basically, both of those fusers are a lot of ways kind of out of this game here. So this is one of these. This turn I actually missed. So I do need to describe what happens on his turn. This is basically 1 full turn of his and mine. I missed taking pictures. It's just a pretty tense part of the battle. But I'll describe what happened. So basically, on his next turn, he takes this Mortis and he moves them in base contact with the chieftain and the troll brawler. But before he does that, he also pushes the steam golem to shoot the chieftain. He wounds him, and then the boomer also shoots the chieftain. No, the boomer. I'm sorry, the boomer misses, and it's just the steam golem that hits this chieftain, takes him down to a regen slot. So the chieftain is actually pretty low at this point, and then he brings the Mortis in there to stop me from healing that chieftain. So if he didn't do that, I could have just pushed Rowan and heal the chieftain. So he brings his Mortis and comes into base contact with my chieftain. You're going to see the next thing. This huntsman moves up and shoots my sniper. So actually, the boomer and the huntsman move up and shoot my sniper. So she basically is at a demoralized slot now. So yeah, it's a pretty big turn from him. Basically moving up to my chieftain and then really taking down one of my snipers. The other thing he does is he moves up. So he has his pikeman, but he goes ahead. He knows that if he just leaves his pikeman there and he brings this steam over, that it's going to be that my elemental could come up. So he goes ahead and just puts his steam golem on the objective, and he brings his pikeman in range of my elemental. In turn, I hit that pikeman with my elemental and hurt him. You don't see this, but on the other side, I also hit Gale with a combo attack with the bladesman. I roll like 5 damage, so she's heavily injured. I could have maybe broken away with the chieftain at this point, but basically, I realized that chieftain's probably dead, and so I really take the rest of my turn and I focus on the left flank, and I hit heavily injured Gale, and then I continue to just whittle down his units on the left flank so I can get that flank secured and then sweep in from the left into the middle objective here. So yeah, you're going to see here. The next time we go to the left flank, there's just a lot less warriors there. But yeah, my elemental as part of this turn as well, as I hit one of his pikemen and take him low. And here, so this is his next turn. This is the end of his turn. He pushes his mortis to kill my chief. And he also, here, he's going to move his steam golem into my brawler. And as part of that as well, he also heals the steam golem as well for 5. So the steam golem is basically back to full strength as well. And yeah, this is the other part where his huntsman shoots my medic, does 2 damage, but the medic is still on a heal slot. It's just 6. So, but these huntsmen are doing work. So he shoots my centaur medic and takes him down. So these huntsmen for him have been like the MVPs of the game. But as you can see over here, Gale is gone. One of the blade mistresses is gone. Sorry, 2 of the blade mistresses are gone, and then this fuser's low. So even though he's really did a lot of work in the center, I am really clearing up the left flank. So after his turn that he killed that mortis, my medic, my centaur medic moves into the sniper and heals him, but only get a 1 on the heal. So that's kind of frustrating. And then the centaur archer moves up, and he's basically this sniper is about to die. So I bring up the centaur archer, and I basically block the line of sight for the sniper, and he shoots, and I finally hit that huntsman with my archer. So I start damaging and weakening those huntsmen, which have been a real problem for me this game. The other thing is that the troll hits the steam golem and does some damage to it. So now that steam golem is a little weaker and can't get healed by this golem mechanic. And this is just also my centaur lieutenant finishes the last of those Amazons. And as you can see, there's just 1 gunslinger left now, and he's demoralized. So this left flank is basically crumbled. 1 more hit from a centaur lieutenant, and there's going to be no models left on that left flank. And you already see those huntsmen are already starting to move towards the right. This is just another picture of my centaur archer moving to block the line of sight for my sniper. And the last thing I did on this turn is that he kept his huntsman a little too close. So I just run up and I basically pin his crystal, my 3 crystal bladesmen. They basically pin his huntsman to this wall. So you can see by hitting him and pinning him to the wall, he isn't able to escape. So I've basically stopped this huntsman from doing all that balance shenanigans. On his turn, his golem, his steam golem, and the mortis, they hit my troll brawler, taking him very low. Again, you'll see the activation token show up in the later pictures. But yeah, they hit that troll brawler, and then both the huntsman and the boomer, they miss my centaur. So just yeah, both are starting to get his luck is starting to a little dry out on that. And that centaur may not be able to, maybe not doing so great on the hitting, but can definitely dodge some shots. So so there's really only 1 model left here. So his huntsman, he realizes his huntsman's going to die. So he goes ahead and just hits my bladesman, takes him low. Yeah, so on my turn, so this is after the fact, but basically this troll brawler was heavily injured. So I roll my breakaway and I break away. So he moves next to Rowan. And then the fresh troll brawler moves to engage the steam golem. And then Rowan finally gets a good heal roll and rolls a 6 to heal the troll brawler. So I've that was a big turn for me, that I was able to get my troll brawler out of there and then get him basically healed up. The other thing I do is I move my artillerist. So I've basically given up the right flank. So I move my artillerist towards the center, where I'm going to start reinforcing the center here. He goes ahead and he kills my injured bladesman, but he pushes to do so. So now both of his huntsmen have lost their bound slots. So, and he's pushed to do so. And this was a really bad turn from him. So it was getting pretty close here, and he needed some good rolls, and he got the exact opposite. So he tries to heal the Mortis with the golem mechanic, and he rolls double ones. So that golem mechanic takes a damage instead. And then his boomer shoots my centaur archer and rolls double ones. So it was a really tough turn for him, where the center flank is really starting to get a lot of pressure. And on that kind of a critical turn from him, he rolls double ones. So it's not looking good from him now. Yeah, that's just another thing of him. Yeah, he just rolled double ones to heal the Mortis, and then his boomer also rolls double ones. You can see that he's taken a point of damage now. So yeah, that's a rough turn for him. And this, yeah, it's just another picture here of this is him. We're putting on some tokens now. Yeah, him just killing the injured bladesman. So on my turn, this is really where the game started to come heavily in my favor, because now those centaur lieutenants, they're freed up. So I've double time that centaur lieutenant. He is basically within striking range next turn. The centaur tries to heal my sniper, and I roll a 3. I need a 4, and then I roll a 3. So because she's a 10 defense and he's a 6, so I need a 4 up and I roll a 3. And then the other thing is that Rowan even tries to heal the sniper, and she rolls double ones. That woodland sniper is like cursed. But it doesn't really matter. The other thing is, you're going to see up here in the top right, my bladesmen, they do a combo attack and they hit, and then I think I roll 5 damage, and I just go ahead and kill that. No, I think I heavily wound that huntsman. I think he's at a demoralized slot now, and as you can kind of see now, it's starting to look really bad for him, because now I'm going to have my centaur lieutenants. They're coming over. So if it wasn't a problem already, now I'm going to have even more forces. My bladesmen and my centaur lieutenant, they're going to start coming towards the center. So, yeah, so basically with most of his models either too far away to deal with the objective or wounded, his Mortis just moves up to flank the brawler. So he basically realized that he had lost the game at this point. It was just, he wanted to kind of, be a good sport, but he also wanted to kind of get one more kill in with his Mortis. So his Mortis has sneak attack. So he moves into the flank of my troll brawler. I'm not allowed to face him. And then the huntsman shoots at my centaur archer, but he's already injured, so they miss. And then the wounded steam golem also attacks and also misses. So a lot of his figures have been basically heavily injured at this point. So he knows the game's over with. He just wants to play out a turn to get a nice kill on Mortis. And I just want to show the right flank again, because you haven't seen a lot happening here, but just to kind of keep in mind, he did have some models here that could have done something, but the problem is that they were so far away. And even if he would have gotten the steam golem and pikeman off the mountain, I still had some woodland scouts that could have basically chaffed him up. So even though nothing happened here, and that living elemental only got 1 attack, that living elemental was basically forcing him, and he even said this, right? He kept on trying to get these models to the center to get into the battle, but this living elemental, it could take out those pikemen. He really needed these guys here because this living elemental just was causing him trouble. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the nature of the objective meant that he really had a lot of points tied up here on the right flank. But yeah, just to continue. So at this point, we're just gonna, the game's gonna go by pretty quick. So when he moves up his Mortis, I move up Rowan, and I move up the Artillerist, and I move up Brawler and Rowan all into his flank. So even if he hits this Troll Brawler, I've got two other trolls here ready to hit him. The Troll Brawler also hits the Steam Golem for, basically heavily damaging it. It's pretty low right now. And then, yeah, it's just, it's not looking good for him. The other thing is the other Centaur Lieutenant has been freed up as well. So he starts moving over here. They've got a 10 move now. So now I have both Centaur Lieutenants moving up. And as you can see, all his models, a lot of them are either demoralized or just damaged. You can see his Steam Golem's pretty damaged. Huntsman's damaged. Yeah, it's just problems all around. So yeah, that's just a bird's eye picture. The battle, yeah, we both admitted that the battle was mine now, but he did want to get one more attack. So we show this up close. His Mortis hits my Brawler and does like 8 damage and actually just kills him outright. So he gets his last hurrah. The Troll Brawler dies. And then just to end the game, my 2 Troll Brawlers attack. They attack the Mortis, taking him really low. And at that point, we called the game. So, yeah. So it was victory to the Elemental League. It's a really good game. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. So just some learning points here. So one, scenarios are much better than kill from Mage Knight. It just makes the game a lot better. And there's a lot of ways that you can play the game. And there's a lot of models that are a lot more useful when you're playing a scenario, as opposed to just a straight kill where you can just bring, grave robbers and, just some of these models that are unkillable. And then just, yeah, there's just things that straight kill is just, it's much better to play scenario. So the other thing I was going to note here is, yeah, Huntsman, 27 points a pop. They are very good. His Huntsmen were doing work. It was also so good to play my Troll Chieftain. There's so many models in Mage Knight I just don't play because, it's really good to break out some models that you haven't played in a while. And the Troll Chieftain is a really well configured to bring in. Yeah, another thing is that always keep in mind, especially in scenario play, you don't have to kill all your opponent's models. In scenario play, you can. A lot like my living elemental did, you can basically force your opponent to keep models over on that side. So that's another thing. And yeah, the other thing is that goes into this is that Mage Knight's activation system is so great, where it's not like other activation systems where every model gets to go. It's more that you only have a certain amount of activations, and that means that you can really start controlling the tempo. And you can force your opponent to make plays that he wouldn't otherwise, just because you're putting pressure on him. So yeah, it's always great to play Mage Knight. I'm looking forward to the campaign to play more of them. All right, thanks for watching. You can always play against me on Universal Battles. I'm always interested in feedback. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment. You can also join the Mage Knight Facebook group and Discords. I'll put the links below. And yeah, it's a great start to preparing for my Mage Knight campaign. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.